Welcome to another video of Engineering Economics 2373 INEN. We are going to continue with this is the second video on the depreciation methods, and we're talking about the sum of year digits, and we have computed so far the depreciation for the fifth year. If you have not seen the first video, please go back to see the first video on depreciation. So continuing with where we left the previous example, we could compute the cumulative depreciation, capital D, at k equals 5, and that would be the summation of all the previous years, or the depreciation of the previous years, that it's 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 over 28. And if we add all that, that's 13, 18, 22, 25, and the cumulative depreciation would be 25 out of 28 parts times 700,000, and this result is 625,000 the number of years that are remaining to be considered in the book value at k equals 5 would be 2 plus 1, that is 3 parts out of 28. In this instance, it is just a coincidence. It is not always the case that it is also 75,000. Let's say, for instance, if we were computing the depreciation at k equals 6, would be just 2 out of 28 times 700,000. That is 50,000. And the book value at 6 is 1 out of 28, which is times 700,000, which is 25,000. So there you go. You see, it is not always the case that the depreciation and the book value are the same. The next method is declining balance. In this method, the amount depreciated is actually a fixed ratio that with respect to the previous year book value. And this depreciation rate can be computed if both the initial and final book values are known. The book values and cumulative depreciation are easily computed. This works pretty easily when we can have an estimate of how much the book value is going to be for an item in the next few years. When you buy a car and maybe the car originally is priced at, say, $30,000, you can estimate that the car is going to have a life of maybe 5 years, maybe 7 years, maybe 10 years. And if you want to use this method for those purposes, then you can estimate, well, if the car was bought at $30,000, maybe after 10 years you can sell it for, I don't know, let's say $12,000, and then you have the initial value and the salvage value, and that would be the book value at times n, and then you can use those quantities to compute the rate at which you're going to depreciate your items, the rate R. So this method requires a non-zero salvage value. Let's compute an example. And let's start with the initial book value at 0, again, of 700,000. Again, we're going to use a life of 7 years. But now the method requires us to have corresponding salvage value. So what we're going to need is to specify the book value at n, that it's at 7. Let's set that up to $100,000. So if that's the case, we can compute the R as 1 minus the 7th root of book value at n, 100,000. We can, since this is just a ratio, we can just write 100 divided by 700,000 700,000, or this is going to be the same answer. And the ratio is the depreciating ratio is 0.24, 26,934,579. And with that ratio we can make use of the formulas that we had before. So the first computation we can do is the book value at say for instance 5 is going to be, using the formula, it's the initial investment 700,000 times 1 minus r, which is a number above, to the fifth. And the book value at year 5 would be 174,363 with 90 cents. The cumulative depreciation, D at K equals 5, could be computed as the difference between these two, between 700,000 and the book value, or we can use the other formula that I've shown you. So that's 700,000 minus 174,363 and 90, and that is $525, 125,636 and 9 cents. And for the depreciation only for that particular year, we need to compute the previous year depreciation, which would be 700, the previous year book value, which would be 700,000 times 1 minus r to the 4 times the depreciation for this year. And this computation is 55,878 and 27 cents. The last of the four methods for depreciating is the MACRS EDS. In this case, the items to be depreciated depend on several characteristics associated with the type of investment and the industry they're going to be working in. And depending on this classification, they are allowed to depreciate in 3 years, 5 years, 7 years or more. And the depreciation factors are just computed in a table. We have this table presented here, and we're going to solve a problem. So in this example, it's a MACRS EDS depreciation with an initial investment of 700,000. The life is 7 years, and the book values always in MACRS EDS is at the end of the life is 0. In case if there is a salvage value, that will be computed as a different in-stream of cash, and it is not related to the MACRS. So the depreciation for the 5th year is the factor that we find in the table, 0.0893 times 700,000, and that is 6,510. For the computation of the cumulative depreciation, we add all the factors for years 1 through 5. And finally, for the book value, we can compute the difference between 700 and the cumulative depreciation, or we can compute the remaining factors, add them together, and multiply that times 700,000.